All right, so welcome to Timeout with Kevin. This is Reggie Smith, OU, played in the NFL for 4 years. So the first question I ask everybody is, who is the hardest player you ever had to play against or defended or a team?
Hardest player. I mean, it can go many different ways. If you talk about strictly college, Adrian Peterson would probably be the toughest.
Oh,
He
yeah, I
was a
bet.
beast. But then you talk about the pros. You talk about some receivers that played against Larry Fitzgerald's probably the best player I've seen. He's still going to this day. So yeah.
Right, dang, yeah, Larry, man. Larry is a legend, man. Larry Fitzgerald. So you went to Edmond. You went to Edmond High School. So can you tell me a little bit about, or you went to Putnam City?
From Edmond, Oklahoma, went to Edmond Santa Fe.
Edmond Santa Fe. Okay, yeah, Edmond Santa Fe. So can you tell me a little bit about like your high school experience and like with football and everything else?
It was pretty good. I mean, went in thinking I honestly thought I was going to be a basketball player. To be honest, it's what I did for the longest. Starting my sports career for the most part, so that's what I thought I was going to be. Got there and luckily had the opportunity to play as a freshman, and it just kind of took off from there. And basketball didn't shake out the way I thought, so it was a good opportunity, and I took it and ran with it for the most part. But other than that, in school was fine. How it goes, good schooling. I can't say it was bad, but it got me to where I needed to go and learned a lot throughout the way.
Yeah. So when you went to OU, so did you always kind of know you were going to go to OU, or was there any other school that you really wanted to go to? Like, how was your like recruitment process?
Oh man, through the process, it was crazy. You all the letters and the calls and this, that, and the other. And when it boiled down to it, it really was down to 3 schools. I know I was supposed to take about 5 bids, but I went to 3, 2. So I think 2 or 3. Well, 3 if you count OU, but it came down to OU, Nebraska, and USC. So those were the schools I visited. And I really didn't know until the day of signing day what I was going to do. I think the night before I kind of told Nebraska they were out. But that morning it was it was real tough going to school. I didn't know what I was going to do just based upon, I couldn't really go wrong. Both teams were solid at the time. They had just got done playing each other in the national championship. So I didn't feel like either way I would have went wrong. So
Right.
I just ended up just saying I'm going to stay close to the home. And that's what I did.
Gotcha. So like, how was it playing for like Coach like Stoops and like that like whole like OU football? That's like a long history of winning and successful players. So how was that kind of going in there as a young kid going in there?
Oh man, it was good. I mean, it was like you said. They had just, I think for the past 4 or 5 years prior to me getting there, they were just national championship playing in it. I mean, but so the expectations are high when you go in. So being able to go in and learn from some of those guys that have been to 2 national championships, this, that, and other, it was good for me to see, and I learned a lot through that. Even though I had to learn fast, because like I said, I played as a freshman, so. Going in and having some great coaches out there that helped me develop me and allowed me to go out there and play at a young age was also well. So overall, it was just a great experience because again, we're used to this winning, and that's what we did there. We won a lot. Didn't get to the big game, but we won a couple Big 12 championships while I was there, so I can't complain about that. And like I said, I got to play some great games. Like I got to play against Vince Young that year that won their national championship. So great players that come along the line there.
So like, who is like some of like your like who is some of like the seniors, like the veterans that you looked up to when you got there? Defensively.
Defensively, I guess some of the captains at the time. So like Rufus Alexander was there at the time. You think of Dusty Dvorak was there. Eric Bassi on the secondary, Chijoke. So most of them were the seniors or going to be seniors that you kind of looked up to. Those guys were still there, and they were kind of leading the team. So those are the ones you kind of roll behind and ask the questions to.
Right. So fast forward. So we get to draft night and everything. So how was like the process of getting drafted to you? Like how many workouts did you have to do and like et cetera? You know what I mean? Can you just describe like how all that stuff kind of happened?
Yeah, I mean, it's one crazy process. So from the day that decided I was going to come out early, um, that next day I was on a flight to Houston because unfortunately at the time I was recovering from a broken toe. So the first month and a half or something like that, I really couldn't do too much other than just rehab and start to feel better, just because I couldn't run or anything like that. So
Right.
that was a little bit of a bad thing. So once I did get healthy, I was training, like I said, in Houston, uh, uh, and then went to the combine. Again, I was still, rehabbing. I didn't really get to fully participate. The only thing I did was the bench press, but I still had interest. I think I took about 3 or 4 different trips from some of the teams. And then leading up to that night, I thought, I was in a pretty good range, anywhere from the 1 to 3, first to third round. So I didn't really know. So I had a little get together that first night, hoping that I go in first or second. Unfortunately, it did not happen. I'm pretty upset for me that night. But that next morning, I was called first few picks in the third round. So that was a blessing in itself.
Right. And so like did you want to go to San Francisco at the time, or did you want to kind of stay closer to home? Like, you know what I mean, to go to Houston, a little closer. Did you want to go all the way out there to see something else?
Oh man, it didn't matter. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, at that point, it doesn't matter. You just go where they tell you to go,
Yeah,
and
for
you
real.
make it the best of it. Like, yeah, if I had my choice, I'd rather not go to a New York or a Green Bay where it's really, really cold. I don't like playing in the cold. But if they would have drafted me, I would have been just as happy because, like you said,
Yeah,
it's the
seriously.
dream to come through and make it there. Yep.
Seriously. Yeah, man, that's it. Not too many people say they can do that, man. That's crazy that you got to do that, and so when you get to San Francisco, how was it a culture shock for you, or did you like how was the first couple weeks or a year, even how was that like in San Francisco?
From a football aspect, it was not a shock, but I guess you could say it was just kind of different, just because you think about college, everybody's in a 4-year age range.
Right.
When you get to the pros, you have guys that are 9, 10, 12 years older than you. So you're dealing with grown men as compared to, young adults all in the same age bracket. So that was the one thing that, you have to get used to, knowing that you're dealing with grown men. It's
Right.
not little kids anymore. So, and then off the field, it was different because, I mean, growing up in Oklahoma where it's, just a tad bit slower, there's not a lot going on all the time. Then you go to San Francisco where, yeah, 5, 6 pro teams,
Right.
San Francisco, San Jose, but it's a lot in the Bay Area going on. So just being able to, on a Tuesday evening, be able to go have a nice dinner or something, go to some kind of concert, it's just
Yeah.
a lot going on. So that was a shock for me, not, going out there to a bigger city where there's a lot of stuff going on.
Exactly. Right. So like who was like some of like the guys so you was with like Frank Gore and people like that. Was Patrick Willis, they were all there, right? That's what I'm thinking. So like how like
Yep, Frank, Patrick, all them, yep.
yeah, so like how so like like when they're like stars of the team, like talking can you talk a little bit about like them and like how like the core like was around that team with Frank Gore, Patrick Willis, Alex Smith, like how was kind of that like going under their leadership? You know what I'm saying?
Uh, it was it was kind of crazy because, I mean, you think about it, we weren't that good at the very beginning. We had a lot of talent, but it just wasn't a well put together team at the time. Like I said, we had those guys like Patrick, Vernon, Frank, Alex Smith, and you can name a couple more, but it was just we weren't. I don't know if it was just a combination of the players and the coaches, or just we didn't believe we could win. So like I said, the first 6, 7 games, I think the coach that actually drafted me was let go, and we went to Singletary.
Yeah, Mike Singletary, yeah.
Singletary brought a different type of structure to the team. So being under his tutelage and whatnot, it created a toughness within the team, I could say. And then, he did good on his impact was bigger on some players than others. But then after that, Harbaugh came in and he was more offensive minded guy. And that's when the team really kind of took off. And, having those core guys like you spoke of, having the Patricks that were, Patricks, the Navarro Bowmans and those type of guys, you just kind of follow behind them and they got you there. And then you add in, like I said, Kaepernick came in and that was what really, changed the team.
Yeah. And so speaking of that, so how was like converting from cornerback to like safety? Was that a big challenge for you? Or was it whatever?
It wasn't that big a deal just because, if you think about it not in high school, in college, I played safety my first year, safety my second year, my last year I played corner. So I was always back and forth. It was just something I always did. So when getting to the league and playing my first year as a corner, and then from that point on being a safety, it was just part of the deal, part of being a DB.
Yeah, because I just didn't know like if you just preferred being one or just like was like a full-time safety. I didn't know how you kind of took everything like that, because in high school I was like the 3 and the 4 like basketball wise, and then at Tabor at school up there I was at like kind of like the 2 primarily.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's it's a little different. It's just a little different role you have to fill. But I just didn't, I was always curious about how people change and what they, their thought process is about stuff like that.
Yeah.
So Colin Kaepernick, those guys, like, how was he in like, and so how was he like, with, before he kind of blew up, you know what I mean? And then with the whole kneeling thing and everything, like how much did you see he kind of matured and how much you see like the San Francisco Giants kind of like did him? Like, what are kind of your thoughts about that?
So I was there in the beginning, so I wasn't there to see the actual year when he actually started it. But in the beginning, he was always he was a great teammate. Always wanted to learn. Always asked the questions. The greatest thing about it, like he would, if you picked him off or something, he would come talk to you either after practice or during practice. Hey, what made you do that? Like, what did you see that made you jump the route? And he's trying to figure out what's going on in my head.
Yeah.
Because I remember specifically when I picked him off and he came and asked me how I knew it was coming. So he was always one to learn and a great guy. And I think that, with the whole kneeling situation, it was just something that had to happen. I'm happy it happened. And I'm happy he was brave enough to take that burden on, because you see what happened after the fact and how the league kind of blackballed him in a sense. And you see where we are now. So it's just kind of one of those things where I think we all need to sit back and say we supported him, but I think we kind of owe everybody, not just the NFL, owes him an apology, just because he was trying to let us know 4 or 5 years ago that this was a big issue, but nobody was really listening.
Right. And so so describe in a couple words about the NFL to just like a random fan, like that people don't see like what y'all go through like every day. Like, how would you describe the NFL?
Business. It's a business.
Yeah.
Point blank period. Everybody sees the glitz and glamour, but it's all about the dollar signs at the end of the day. If you make a certain amount of money, you have to produce. If you don't, you get replaced. It's that simple.
And was that so like from college to NFL, do you think you should have waited at OU? Do you think you could have played another year, or when did you kind of know that you were ready to make that jump to the NFL?
It's kind of the same thing like when I went to OU. When I was choosing coming out of high school, it's one of the things where I just kind of weighed my options. And I think, if you really think about it, most college players, they only play junior, senior year, maybe a little bit their sophomore year, so they maybe get 2.5 years of playing at the college level. I played from the day I stepped in the at OU, so I played a full 3 years. I felt like I had the experience I needed, and I played at a high level for those 3 years, and it was kind of one of those things where I think it was just best for me to go at that time.
Right, right. Yeah, man, that's exciting, man. That's crazy that you got to do that, man. That's because so many people want to do that, man. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so many people don't get that opportunity to never make it, you know? So on that, so what is some of like the best advice you've ever received as far as a dad, you know, a coach, teammate? Like, what is some of the best advice you probably still carry to this day?
Just on what aspect of this for the
Sport.
game purpose?
Yeah.
Sport. I think just to to study the film. That was one of the biggest things where I think it was my college, not my college, it was my first pro coach. You know, you can have all the talent in the world, but like if you don't study the film, it really doesn't matter. It's only so much your athleticism can take you. There is, and the other part of it's all mental. So being able to know what's coming, anticipate what's coming, you know, be able to decipher what the office is trying to do to you, just like any other sport. If it's basketball, same type of deal. Knowing what's coming at you or knowing what to prepare for is one of the biggest things you can do. Besides, you know, working out in the summer and in the off season, things of that nature. Just being able to study that film and be a student of the game.
Mm. Right. Right. And I was about to ask you, what would your advice be to somebody now trying to come up? Would it be just be a student of the game? Or like, would you give, like, what's something you would say?
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing. And another thing, you got to work. It's not easy. So even like in this time right now, I know, you know, gyms are closed, schools aren't really in, things like that are really happening. You have to find a way to get to work because regardless, somebody's out there working, and regardless, you're going to have to be ready for whenever that call is, whatever that call is, whenever that game is, whatever you can do now before you get to the game situation.
Yeah.
Then at that point, you just let all that preparation that you've done, you just let it go play.
Right. Right. Hey, I just thought about this, man. So whenever you were like okay, I'm gonna say this. So how has it been in a video game? Because I was about to say, because you know, I know Lawrence Travis and all them, and you know, I knew of you from Grandma and all of them. So you would be like I would make you as the punt returner on the game.
Yeah.
So how was that being like in the video game? Like how was that? Like did you like play with the 49ers and like be yourself, put yourself in the game? Or did you want to be like, did you even play? Like how, because some people say they don't even play like 2K and other like stuff, but they don't even play just because they are around it every day. Like how was that for you to be in your own video game?
Yeah. I think I played more I played more when I was in college. My grades were a lot higher than when they were in the pros. I was the mediocre cat out there, so I was like, man, I ain't finna play this. I'm not good. So no, I played myself more in college. Like I said, I was pretty decent on the game ratings wise. I wish my speed would have been faster, but it's all right. It's what it is. But
I was about to ask, like, did you feel like disrespected whenever like they would say your speed would be lower or whatever? Like you be like, oh, I'm way better than this, and you know, like how, like, did you take offense to it? Like how? Because some people be like, oh man, like that's not me at all.
I mean, I didn't take offense to it, but I understood. I mean, when you run a certain time, they're gonna put you in a certain bracket, so ain't nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, man, that's funny, man. I remember I used to always put you as punt returner. I would always have you play at something because you know I was like, oh, you know, yeah, man. I've always wanted to tell you that. Yeah, when I you know I always want to tell him that I'd always be him. So, all right. So besides sports, you know, we're getting out of sports. Well, okay. Well, so retirement what I had next. So how was that, and when did you that like last year? Like, did you know you were pretty much done, like, playing, or did you think you could come back? How was that process?
I don't think you really know unless you're one of those guys that play for 10, 12, 20 years.
Right. Yeah.
You can kind of walk right away on your own terms. For me, it was one of those things where I was like, hey, I did a couple preseasons, and then it's one of those things you don't know. you kind of always have to stay ready just in case there is a call for a tryout or something like that. But for me, that call never came. So I was still working out and stuff, but I was working on an exit strategy, just trying to get myself in front of use the resources that I had to help me transition from sports into the real world.
And so, all right, so happy you talked about the exit strategy. So can you talk about bands and how that all kind of came about?
Oh, man. That was just a little I don't even know how to explain it. It was just one of those things where I was wearing a lot of, those bracelets that you see, at stores and stuff. And I was like, man, this looks I feel like I could do this. So I went and got some bracelets, some beads and whatnot from the local stores, local Hobby Lobby, I think it was at the time. And it started, putting stuff together. And then I kind of started reading up on it and figuring out the little tricks of the trade and whatnot. Then do it online just to show, I was pretty creative. And then a couple people were interested in it. So I was like, oh, well, may do a little more. So then I ended up getting a website, and trying to put some promoting stuff on there. And it's kind of been going from there. So just trying to be more consistent.
That's cool. I love jewelry. That's cool, man. That's cool. So here's the bonus segment I do with everybody. So the first question is your Mount Rushmore athletes.
Ooh, it's a good one. Griffey.
Okay.
Jordan. Let's think. Ed Reed.
Okay, that's different. Ed Reed.
Yeah, I'm a big Ed Reed fan. You gotta have, regardless, you gotta have Brady. Brady's gonna be on. Is that 4? I need one more.
Yeah, that's 4.
Yeah.
Dang, yeah. Okay, I figured you'd have said Kobe. You know what I mean? Somebody,
Mike.
Oh yeah, you was a Mike guy. So the second question is top 3 favorite teammates. College,
top 3
college,
favorite
pros, whatever.
Teammates. I would say Lindy Holmes played with me at OU. Deshaun Golden at San Fran, and then let me think. Cap was a good teammate. Yep.
Okay. So the next bonus, the last bonus question is, then I'll give you mine. So all time starting 5 NBA lineup.
You cut out. Say that one more time.
All time starting lineup. NBA.
Oh, NBA?
Yeah.
Man, I gotta play, man. Jordan, obviously. Okay. Kobe. Yeah. I mean, everybody. I guess I gotta put him in there, even though I'm not the biggest fan of the man. Bron gotta be in there. I need 2 more.
You're not a big Bron fan? What?
I'm just not a big Bron fan. Never have been. Yeah. So
he's my favorite, man. You should see my phone, but it's LeBron out in there. Dang.
I'm gonna go with Shaq and then Iverson.
Okay. Because I was gonna say, Magic, and then I'm gonna put Mike, and then I gotta say I'm gonna go a little different than what you. Then already okay. Then I'll go without LeBron. I'll say Scotty. I would do Scott, and then my 4 would be Tim Duncan. And then my 5, if you say Shaq, I'll go Kareem.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Mike, you really can't go wrong with Mike, man. He can't really top him. So yeah, man. I think my team probably gets yours though, man. I don't know. That'd be
oh man, come on.
That'd be a good game. So who do you so since quarantine? So what have you been doing since quarantine? And all this stuff has happened. So I know you live in Phoenix, so I know it's hot.
Yeah, I'm in Phoenix, so it's pretty hot out here. But I just, nothing really changed me. I still have to work. I'm technically considered essential, so I still have to go to work every day. Bought me some weights, so I've been in the backyard getting that prison grind, I guess you could say.
Yeah. For real, man. I feel you. I feel you. I feel you. So, do you have any questions for me before we end, or?
No, I enjoyed it. I mean, I didn't know what to look for. I didn't know what we were going into, but I enjoyed it. It was a good time.
Yeah, man. Thank you, man. Thank you. I know it was kind of one of those deals. I was thinking about people to do, and I was like, oh, Shevis, you know what I mean. And then I asked for your number, and he was like, oh, you got to DM me first. You know what I mean? I was like, all right, bet, I got you. Yeah.
Yeah. I gotta get him on the court one time. He talk a lot of noise. I gotta make sure.
Shevis do, man. That's the one thing Shevis will do, man. Him, Eddie, AT, they all be getting on me, man. Every time we go and play, they're like, young, you can't play, all that, man. I owe Shevis, man. Me and Shevis, man, we've been at it for a long time.
Yeah.
When you gonna come back down here? Do you come back to Oklahoma at all?
Yeah, I do. I try to make it back once every couple months. This depends on what it's like. Right now, it's been hard just because of what's going on.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Do you come back to Duncan, or you just go straight to Edmond?
I go to Edmond.
Okay. I didn't know if you ever come to. Yeah, I mean Duncan. Yeah, I didn't know. Good old Duncan. But hey, man. Hey, but thank you for doing this, man. I really did enjoy it.
No problem.
I really did. Thank you, man.
No problem.